Hello, everyone. We are back with the Ridens together. This is our first podcast with a couple, so we're excited.
We're excited as well. Good to be here.
A fun couple, so you're gonna have a good time.
One of our favorite couples.
Thank you.
Your check's in the mail.
So we talked to you guys individually, and now we want to just talk with you together, primarily about marriage, maybe a little about dating. So we'll just start with, how did you guys, well, let me back up. So if you haven't seen the first two podcasts with the Ridens, please listen to those. It tells kind of the pre-story. And Wallace and Jessica have been married almost 17 years. So we talked to them individually up to about the time where they're going to start meeting each other and dating. So that's where we're picking up at. So tell us, how did y'all?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say, just watching them overcome all the odds that were against them, and 16, 17 years later, it's been amazing to see the process and just them now helping a lot of people out and learning from mistakes, different things like that, but now investing in other people.
Yeah, and being an example to others now. So.
Thank you.
Amazing. So, how'd you meet? Who wants to start?
Well, I guess I'll start off with a story of, because, I was in y'all's Bible study, and Wallace would come with Antonio sometimes to the Bible study, and I remember him being there one night, and he was, we used to give testimonies before the Bible study, and he said one time, well, God's dealing with me about being faithful. And I was like, cool, man, praise God. Wallace is going to get saved this time, because he had been in and out. And then the next 3 months, you don't see him ever again. And I'm sitting there thinking, God, where's, what happened to Wallace? So when he finally came back to church and, he got filled with the Holy Ghost and he was on fire, I was like, okay, cool. So Wallace is back and he's really serving God this time,
Yeah.
So what year would that have been?
2006.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, when she's talking about the Bible study, this might have been 2005.
Okay.
Something like that.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So did you notice Jessica from that first Bible study, or were you kind of in another world?
No. Actually, in 2004, when she got saved, I was trying to still, trying to find my footing, and, I was still going back and forth on whether or not I wanted to serve God. But I remember, like, the first time I saw her, I remember what I was wearing. I remember where I was, and I even remember what she was wearing. So I was sitting, I had my back against the wall on the church. I had on a blue shirt and like a blue tie. And I remember saw this girl, kind of walk by. And I forget who you was talking to, but you were laughing. And it's like something in me said, that's going to be your wife one day. And I've just, kind of filed it away or whatever. And so we started talking.
Now, I don't know if you filed that away, because you always excited.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I filed it away, but I didn't file it away.
Okay.
So I just kind of kept it in the back of my mind. But yeah, something in me told me that was going to be your wife.
Well, because I can remember talking to him. We were in the front of the church, and, we were just throwing around discussions of, I just got saved and I want to have a godly husband. And he was like, yeah, I want to marry a godly wife. And
we didn't know him.
Some other ladies in the church were hearing our conversation. And I remember one of them like pulling me aside and was like, be careful about Wallace. He's been in and out. And I was like, okay.
In all
I
fairness,
had no intentions of, we were just talking,
But in all fairness, I get it. That's just, people trying to protect from someone who's been in and out. And so that, but yeah, we would talk from time to time. And, of course I backslid, went back, kind of still living the way I want to live. And, so when I came back in 2006, I was thinking, surely she's got married now. There's no way, nobody's not talking to her. She's not married yet. Now I came back, I noticed she wasn't. And so, and there wasn't a reason I served God, but But after just focusing on God,
It helped.
yeah, definitely helped. But after focusing on God, I just felt the nudge to go after her. To be honest, I'm definitely not going to say the name, but I was actually thinking about somebody else, and but just kind of thinking about it, and because I felt like she was out of my league because I had been in and out. I didn't have anything, no car, no nothing. Barely had a job, and so I felt like she was out of my league. So I was like, well, maybe this other person would accept me, but I felt like God said no. Like, this is who I want you to go after. Go out, this is what I want you to pursue. So I decided just to go for it. And I remember talking to my pastor at the time, and I was like, I really like this girl. And I remember he looked at me, he said, that's fine, but that doesn't mean she likes you. And I was like, yes, you got a point. And so, he said, well, why don't you just wait? And so time went by. It's about 5 months. I started a nursing home ministry, and started inviting the girls to come out to the nursing home ministry with us. And so she and a few other ladies in the church started coming, and we started talking, building relationship from that. I watched the way she served like those people in the nursing home. And that was a snippet of what she does today. That's how she is. She's always serving people, helping people. And I was watching her do that in a nursing home. And I was like, man, I really like her, And so I decided, I remember where we was at. We was at the skate park. And my buddy, Pastor Harold Stewart in Augusta.
You have to back up a little bit because
Where?
while he was doing the nursing home ministry, he would like bring me like little small gifts here and there, and I was just thinking, guys, just so sweet,
just little stuff like candy or not anything heavy.
Well, you've jumped way ahead.
He has.
Because I can remember the conversation we had.
Okay.
And you were like, man, I want to get to know, Jessica. You think, we go on a date and all this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then you just, back and forth.
Is that when he called you at our house?
That was around the same time, yes.
So.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So we lived in this little tiny apartment, and Antonio always had his phone on speaker.
Yeah.
So anywhere in the house, I could hear him talking on his phone. So I guess you called, he had you on speaker. And so I'm in the kitchen. I hear him in the other room talking, and I hear you say, I really like Jessica. She's just so beautiful. And man, what should I do now? Should I ask her out on a date? And I'm in the background. I said, tell him to get a license first.
I remember when he came and showed me those licenses.
Go ahead.
So then, okay, I need to get a license. And then get a car. So I'm in the background. And then Tony was like, okay, then you need to go get a car. But sure enough, within a month,
well,
you had a license and a car?
I was determined.
Well, okay, I'm going to back it up even further than that. Because he was like, man, I'm interested in her. I like her. And so I think we were outside.
Yeah.
And you were telling me how you liked her and you're interested in it and all that. And I'm like, well, in order for her to really, see a difference and all that, you got to do some things different and, to put your name in the hat.
Yeah.
Because if your name ain't in the hat, then it's not even an option.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, what do I got to do to put my name in the hat?
Yeah.
And then I start naming all these different things.
And I was filing them away, I promise you.
You were filing them away.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and it was a real motivation,
yeah.
For you, because it was just like once you realize your name wasn't in the hat,
Yeah.
then you start just really, really, really focusing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a motivator. And it was just amazing to see just that process to where it's like, yeah, I'm saved, but this is motivating me to the next level to where you really locked in and really just begin to get things in order and, far as, just even, hey, job wise, and I don't know where we are in the conversation.
But I even started saving money, and I was focused and I was determined. But literally, I was really pursuing her because, like, to me, it was like she's worth it. You know what I mean? Like she's worth the sacrifice or whatever I got to do to save the money or whatever I got to do to get a car license. You know, it meant that much to me because I was attracted to the simple fact that she was modest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, and all those sorts of things. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity to get in trouble when you're single out there.
Yeah.
But you make your mind up. I'm going to do. I want the right things. Gotta help you.
Oh yeah.
And so I was just focused on, you know, whatever I got to do. You know, saving money, whatever I got to do. You know, and I prayed to God, man. I was like, God, you know, if you could just help me. You know, I'm saving up for the ring and everything. So I was definitely.
You're jumping way ahead.
I'm just saying. I was definitely focused, and that meant everything to me.
So I do want to say also that, you know, if they've listened to the other episodes, just knowing that where him and I came from and our backgrounds, you know, the immoral lifestyles and just not, you know, just bad relationship after bad relationship. The way he pursued me and how we built a friendship first in the church, I mean, it was just totally, you know, I always wanted that and always wanted to experience that. You know, you did everything backwards in the world, but when you come into the church and I meet him and he was just so respectful, never just went and said anything out of the way, treated me with the utmost respect and dignity. And that's what I was telling him in my testimony. You know, you're just looking for worth, and that how God used him in our relationship to really show me, hey, you are worth the wait.
Yeah.
So, you know, it just being able to experience that, it was absolutely incredible, amazing. So, you know, we would just, the story of him going to the nursing home, I remember one day that he came with a present. And we had been friends, you know, and we were talking at the nursing home and things. And he gave me this present. It was a Bible with my name on it.
I spelled her name right,
my
too.
whole name.
I done my research.
Even my middle name.
Oh.
And it was so, I was just so blown away at just your thoughtfulness. Just the little things, you know. And I was like, okay, this gift is different, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, you didn't have to. So he's talking about the park. We went to that outreach at the park, and we were talking. And I was like, you didn't have to give me that Bible like that. That's a really nice. He's like, well, yeah, actually I did. And so you.
So
take it up there.
So I'm standing there. You know, and my friend is like, go talk to her right now. I'm like, no, not right now. He's like, go ahead, go talk to her. Go now. And I'm like, okay. So I go over and I'm like, hey, how you doing? You know, and so this is the same day that we were at the nursing home earlier. And then she said, well, you didn't have to give me that Bible. And then I said, well, yes, I did. I said, I would like to get to know you better, you know, or something along those lines, something of that nature. And so yeah, that's kind of how we started. And that's what we did. We went really slow. Like we just kind of like talked out the church. But anybody who was around back then, remember, we would talk until like, there was nobody else in the parking lot.
Oh, and my poor children.
Yeah.
You know,
Sleep in the back of the car.
yeah, because, you know, I had Corinne and Jaden and, you know, just being that single mom and talking, and it was just so new and it was exciting and but we just really just built a good friendship.
Yeah, that's what we were like in the beginning. Before I actually bought the Bible, we were friends. Like I would buy like little gifts, like a calendar. You know, like I was at the dollar store. I picked this up for you, or M&Ms or candy. And so we started dating. Then I would. We actually only dated 3 months.
Really? Okay.
The rest of it was friendship.
Okay.
You know, we really dated 3 months. So we started dating in March. We got married in August.
Wow.
And so our dates would consist of taking the kids to the park.
Yeah.
That's great.
Or some nights I would go to Friday night outreach and Miss Vera would babysit and then afterwards we would go to Choo Choo's. Because, Choo Choo's stayed open until 2 o'clock in the morning. And we would go there just so we could be alone. I mean, because we always had the kids with us, always. So our relationship, it was kind of unique and different anyway, because I was a single mom. And how do you incorporate, the children? Well, we just always had them with us,
Sometimes we did, and sometimes we didn't. It just depends on. So we started doing that. So she was working at a bank, and so I would sneak over sometimes, like I whip around the side so she couldn't see me, and I would just stick like roses, and I don't know how many notes I wrote, and she still have those. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I look at it now, I'm like, man, I couldn't even write a spell almost. It's like, that looks awful. But I mean, I wrote them all the time, and they were just encouraging notes like, hey, want to let you know God has a great plan for you. You're a blessing to my life, stuff like that.
Just saying that, the relationship in the church and just experiencing this through the church, no man has ever treated me like that. No man has ever put worth on me like that. So for him to go out of his way, and I mean, as soon as I would see that stuff in my car, I mean, it was just such a warm and an amazing feeling that he made me feel so special.
Well, on the outside looking in, it was amazing because I'm getting to see it from the outside.
Yeah.
From day one, just before y'all start dating, and a lot of things that, it's like, hey, well, you need to get this done before y'all start dating. And it's like, he got all that done. And I can remember, like, it was one that's like, hey, I got this done. Hey, I'm ready.
Checklist.
Yeah, checklist. Yeah, he was marking the checklist. Oh, it's like, I got this done. I got that done. And,
for sure.
And it was just overwhelming. But just even seeing you two learning how to do it God's way.
Yeah.
And that was so amazing. I mean, it was so exciting, and for all of us, but it was just so exciting to see, here it is, these new challenges, but doing it the way God wants us to do it. And that was so exciting.
Funny story. So our first date was it the, what's the name of the restaurant over there in Athens? Our first date. Well, I had to order the...
Carrabba's.
Yeah, so we go to Carrabba's, and so I'm all dressed up. She's dressed up. I have $50. That's all I have. Like, that's it. And so I wasn't going to tell her that. So we go to the restaurant. I'm hoping she order within my budget. Well, before we go, she's like, okay, we're going to go out to eat, and then we're going to go get some coffee. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah. I'm like, trying to calculate it in my head. So we go to Carrabba's. I'm like, oh, get what you want. She said, I'll take the steak. And like, I'm like, she's like, what do you want? I'm like, oh, well, I start looking through. I ordered the squid, the calamari. I didn't even know what it was, but it was $9.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have the. She's like, you like calamari? I was like, oh yeah. So they bring it. I figured out a way to eat it.
I was just looking at him like, I've never had calamari, so I was like, wow,
it's all right. It's kind of chewy, but so we eat. She's like, oh, let's go get coffee. I'm still like, oh, okay. I'm still calculating in my head, $5, $10, and so I made it. I made it. So I think I maxed out my budget. But I just remember thinking, like, but that was okay. Like, if I could have sat there and not even eaten, it would have been okay. As long as I could have been with her, you know what I mean? But
you've done that several times.
Stop. They used to work together, and they have a lot of stories. We're not going to go there. So back to dating.
Anyway.
So looking back on your dating experience, can you give any advice to, people with similar backgrounds, or just, Christians dating?
Yeah, well, because of our backgrounds, we didn't, physical touch, we just did not go there at all.
We didn't hold hands or anything. We used to bump into each other.
Maybe we were a little
freak
weird
out.
with it, you know.
Yeah, maybe.
But because of our backgrounds, I just didn't want to cross any lines whatsoever. I wanted to do this right. I wanted Pastor LaValle to marry us. Like that was my goal, because once I started dating him and getting to know him, I was like, okay, this is, and I had prayed specific prayers, like, God, show me this, because, you get kind of, you're in a relationship, you want it to work out, but you want to do the will of God as well. So, I'm just praying and asking God to confirm. And he really did. He really did confirm my relationship with Wallace. But just as dating, everybody has different standards. But because of our background, we made just no touching, nothing physical, don't even put ourselves in that kind of situation. Because, he just didn't want to violate any type of anything in our relationship.
Yeah.
And
Wow,
plus,
that's very different from your background.
yes.
Yeah, very. It was complete opposite.
We never kissed. We never held hands.
No, not at all.
Ever. He
No.
never said anything out of the way, like, oh, baby, look what you got on today. There's nothing like that,
Even though she might have looked beautiful, I just wasn't going to say it,
Oh, you
because-
might say, oh, you look nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
And the thing is, people may say, well, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah.
didn't touch.
Yeah.
But, and we didn't either.
Yeah.
And it's like the first time we kissed was on our wedding day.
Same here.
And people are like, man, that's weird.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it wasn't weird based on the lifestyle that we came from.
Yep.
And it was just like, well, I don't want to do anything to violate that.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's just like, a touch leads here, touch there, touch. And it's just like, just trying to, respect God, respect each other. And a lot of people don't understand that, but it's just like, no, I don't want to violate this in any kind of way. And so, we get it,
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to get to know somebody.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Just spending time together, not
Absolutely.
touching, because you're not getting all those hormones in the way.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Because every relationship that we ever probably had in the world was just consumed with lust. It was just all lust, basically. And it was all physical. That was all the relationship was. Even if they were I don't even know if you say they were relationships, but it was all based on physical
And
aspects
shallow.
of it.
Yeah.
And very shallow. So when you're actually in the church and you're getting to know someone, you're really getting to know that person.
Yeah.
But you really don't know that person until you really marry them, and then you start living with them because you really don't know them.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think too, like foundation, where if you live in a house with a good foundation, it can withstand certain storms. So I think that when you just build your foundation on just, the love you have for each other and in Christ, I think you can survive anything,
Yeah.
And so I think we had a good foundation because it wasn't on, it had nothing to do with anything physical, period. At all.
So when you go ahead.
Well, and that's the wonderful thing about, dating as a Christian.
Yeah.
We're building our relationships on getting to know one another.
Absolutely.
We're not basing it on the feelings, the emotions, and, the physical side of it, because we don't know that side, but we're basing it on, the relationship, and that helps really build
Character.
it. Yeah, the character and
absolutely.
all that.
Absolutely.
And
So,
So, then, so once we're dating and then he asked me to marry him, and I said yes. And it was just a whirlwind of, I was like, man, I just can't believe I'm getting married, because I always wanted to get married, but,
yeah.
I just couldn't believe that I was really going to get married.
Yeah. So
So so you get married, and for us, the first year was rough.
yeah.
Get all
I
that.
concur.
I would say the first 3 years we were married was pretty rough.
Well, it's just you don't even know you're selfish until you get married. It's like there's no reason to know.
Yeah.
You can sleep whenever you want. You can go wherever you want.
Yeah.
So that first year is getting that selfishness out, just pulling it out, tooth and nail.
And,
Is that what y'all experienced?
Yes. Yes.
And plus, and then we had it compounded with the blended family. So, then, I was a single mom. So just bringing the mix of 2 kids already, bam, you're married. you already have 2 kids. And just trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
it was a lot harder than what I thought it was going to be. You
Yeah.
know, my expectation was you get married, you know, he's going to be the perfect person. He's never going to make me mad or hurt me or anything like that. But, you know, my expectations were just way too high for him.
Well, I think
unrealistic.
Well, I think in just reality for all of us, because we're going into something we don't know anything about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and so.
And then, you know, like, especially like, so when we got married, I think you were pregnant, for 6 months or something?
2 months after we got married, I got pregnant.
Yeah. So it was like right after. So it was like dealing with the emotions of the pregnancy.
So the honeymoon was great, huh?
Yeah.
That 1 week.
Yeah. Tell me about it. So just dealing.
But I can remember, though, leaving the church after we get married and we're driving, you know, and I'm sitting over there. And I'm just sitting over there just all still. And he tries to put his hand on my leg. And I'm like jerking away from him. Because I'm like.
Yeah.
I'm like.
So that was awkward. So.
Because you're like, you know, you spend your whole time. No.
Yeah.
Sex is bad. You know,
Well,
don't let him touch you. But
Yeah.
Well, but just think, how long had you been saved at that point?
4 years.
4 years. So and
Yeah.
that was the same with, you know, it's like, it's awkward.
Yeah, baby.
It's like you don't know how to go about it, and it's all new. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You know, and so no, I get it.
Yeah.
So that was like, oh man, you know, I'm married now. It's like,
It's okay. It's okay.
okay, yeah, I had to relax.
Yeah. And
So
so
what-
she got pregnant with, was it Isaiah? No, so, no.
I was
It had to be that.
so it
Yeah.
was a whirlwind. I was pregnant 4 times in the first 2 years we were
Yeah.
married.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I miscarried that baby, and then
Yeah. Got pregnant again with Isaiah.
and
And then she
I
got
had
pregnant
another-
again.
and miscarried that.
And then pregnant with Caitlin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a whirlwind, and you know, the 2 older kids, and then and just not having that example of marriage. We did not know what the heck we were doing. You know, I would just call Pastor all the time because I just did not know. You know, I didn't expect us to have arguments.
Right.
I didn't expect us to have. I wasn't expecting that.
Right.
And so, you know, when you do, and you're like, oh my gosh, I hate confrontation.
Yeah.
I guess it's because fighting, you know, I was raised in that my whole childhood. You know, I can't stand contention. It makes me nervous. I get real anxious. But, you know, when we would have an argument, we didn't know how to argue. And so we would just say a lot of hurtful words to each other. You know, I would just totally shut down.
Yeah.
And we just didn't know how to argue. We didn't know how to argue.
Right.
And so I think the first 3 years of the marriage was just, and then all the pregnancies and just all that stuff. It was we were just making it harder on ourselves.
Yeah. But then, you know, as the years go by, you mature.
Yeah.
That's why when people say they're giving up on their marriage after like 2 years, it's like, you really,
You don't even know each
you
other.
haven't given it any time to mature, you know. It's like you gotta fight through it, you know.
So back to your podcast earlier, you feel like that determination helped you in your marriage as well?
Absolutely.
You're going to figure out how to do this?
Yeah, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna work this through, and you know, whatever we got to do, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna stay married,
Yeah.
and so that's what I don't know if there was like a real thread of us not, maybe not from my perspective anyway, of you know, not being married, of ending our marriage. I don't know if that never seriously crossed my mind. I don't know about her, but I don't know if it ever seriously crossed my mind.
Well, being a Christian, you have Jesus to fall on. So just crying out to God, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
And just having, I think over the years, you know, you get more realistic expectations. Okay, he's not perfect. I'm not perfect.
yeah,
Right.
You know, we're trying to raise kids. You know, he's stepping in with these 2 children. And, you know, he didn't have to, but he decided that was something that he wanted to do. And, you know, just looking back now, and yes, we were both very selfish. You know, we were just all looking out, just trying to, I want it my way. Well, I want it my way, you know, and just
I think that's every marriage.
Yeah.
pretty much.
And just
Yeah.
learning how to meet in the middle and really, get realistic expectations with our relationship and with him. And that, he's not perfect. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I have to give him grace. He gives me grace.
Yeah.
And as the years have gone on, I mean, it just keeps getting better and better. But when we were pioneering in Greenville, things were it was just getting pretty crazy. Out there, the church wasn't doing well. My dad died. His granddad passed away. It was just so stressful. And so when we came back from Greenville, it was just so much was going on in our family.
Yeah.
And I think God really, at that point, God really did do a miracle. Just in his heart and my heart. And, after that, I think was a real turning point in our marriage.
Yeah.
So,
Are there things that you do now to prevent those arguments or to build your relationship? Are there things you do on a weekly basis or monthly basis?
well, we do not argue. When it used to be like every day when we first got married, it was just like, oh my God, will this ever end?
Now it's like we really don't. I mean,
Okay, so what are the rules to having a discussion? So what are the rules you've come up with?
Well, we might
how
have
do you
a-
have a discussion now?
We might have a disagreement, and then, it's like, well, trying to look at it at both ways. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like it this way. Well, I'm not meaning it. I'm not meaning it that way. I'm not meaning to disrespect you if that's how you're feeling. But this is how it makes me feel. Just trying to talk it out.
Yeah.
Has that helped voicing how you're feeling in the moment? Like, hey, you're saying that it's making me feel
Yeah.
very anxious or...
Yeah. I think that really helps me. Or just taking a moment just to, separate. But we hardly ever.
yeah. I mean,
Anymore.
arguments are rare.
Very
Like
flimsy.
we hardly ever. I mean, because a lot of times it's just.
Okay, so
I'm not trying to
Usually
sound.
it's just something stupid.
Yeah, I'm not trying to sound self-righteous, but like we just don't argue. Definitely, like we used to for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the wonderful thing about that is, here it is. You come from dysfunctional families.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, but then God brings you out of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're learning how, because it's not like you had that example at home.
Yeah.
You had that example. I think you made a comment, but you had that example in the church.
Yeah.
But you said it ain't like
Can't
we
go
went
home
home.
with them. Yeah, that's
They didn't
right.
go home with us. We didn't see,
Yeah.
once you got home.
All you see is perfect people at church, and you're thinking, why am I not perfect? Why am my marriage isn't perfect? But you don't go home with those people. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Right.
And when it comes to find out, everybody has their problems.
Yeah.
Everybody has their issues. So, you can't see what's happening at someone's house. It doesn't mean that they're...
So rules, I would say number one, don't use the D word.
I don't know what the D word is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Go ahead
we
and
don't
say
even.
it so we,
Okay.
we're on the same
The-
page.
Okay. We don't use the word divorce.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah.
Like doesn't matter what happens. We don't use
It's not
that
an
word.
option.
No,
Yeah.
no, absolutely not an option. So we don't even use that word.
Yeah.
And so that's number one. Number two, I try to apologize. Even
He's so good about this.
yeah.
Because I can tell you, I'm holding the grudge. Man, it's deep down. It is anchored. It's in there, and I don't want to let it go. But he is anybody. He'll go and tell someone he's sorry. He won't even have nothing to do with it or start it. That's one thing that I admire about him so much is that he'll come and say he's sorry.
Yeah.
And so I think that really does help out a lot.
So that's my rule, to get it right, even though I'm not wrong
Sometimes.
sometimes. But for the sake of peace, And for the sake of our relationship, I'll go and say, hey, I'm sorry. I just wanted to apologize. And to be honest, I know I'm not wrong all the time, but that's really not the point.
Yeah.
The point is our relationship being mended. It's not about who's right or wrong, and so I'll just go to her and say, hey, I'm sorry. And that sets everything on course where we can get back to where we need to be. Right. And sometimes I am wrong. Sometimes she's wrong. And again, I feel like it's my responsibility. And every once in a while she'll come and say, hey, I'm sorry. Not, I don't mean that to be funny, but, but she'll come up and say, hey, I shouldn't have, you were right. Because a lot of times, I'll say, hey, this and this. And she'll be like, nah, I don't think that's right. Okay, that's fine. Then later she'll be like, yeah, you were right. So, but I would say no divorce. Get it right as soon as possible. Yeah. Nobody wants to live in a house where, the parents are fighting for 3 days or a month or whatever. And
or the silent treatment.
Or the silent treatment.
No. That's
I used to be real good at that.
Yeah. But she doesn't anymore. We don't do, so apology is big. It's just humility. I'm sorry. Man, those two words right there, I'm telling you, they could work miracles if you just say those.
And I think, anybody that gets married, they just have to go through those first years, period. There's no one-all, fix-all for any. Yeah. You just have to go through it yourself and learn each other, learn how to give a little, get a little, and
no degrading, like saying things like you're stupid or those types of things. That's not going to disarm an argument at all. Yeah. Right. That's going to escalate. And so I would say no name calling. Yeah. And so, I think that, that does more harm than good, especially if you're a male out there, you're a man, you're listening. Women don't heal easy. So you can't just say whatever you want to and then 2 hours later be like, hey, treat her like one of the guys. That's not going to work. So I'm always try to be careful what I say.
And that's a hard lesson to learn.
Yeah. Well, now I'm to the point now, if I'm mad, I just quit talking.
Yeah, because you go through that and you're having an argument and words are spoken, and then later on that night it's like, hey, baby, you want to spend some time? It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it don't work like that.
Absolutely not. Don't get nowhere near me. Don't touch me. And he can't. And they don't understand why. Yeah. And it's like,
did you forget about it?
Yeah. So I learned that
2 hours and 22 minutes ago. Did you?
Exactly. Yeah. So I just avoid that at all costs.
One track mind.
What you talking about?
One track mind.
So we're to the point now where it's like that's a rule now. It's like we're not gonna do that. But and also, if you want to marry somebody, I know this sounds cliche, but make sure they love Jesus more than you, because the reason why people say that, number one, is it's true, but when the hard time comes, like you have a default. Yeah. Like, what's your default? Is it drinking? Is it, whatever, but what is your default? Like, how do that individual handle adversity? When they're going through something, what are they falling back on? Yeah. And if I was single, like, that's what I would be looking at. Like, do they fall apart when the smallest little thing come their way, the smallest little adversity, or do they fall back on Jesus during the hard times? And so I think that's what we've learned to do over the years. Like, hey, it's like things might not be going the way we wanted to go, but hey, I can always fall back on him because he never changes. He's always the same.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I would like to say, just, hearing the background, how you were raised and all that, and now you're married, been married for 16 years. Yeah. It's so amazing because, right now I can count 4 or 5 people that are going through divorce right now. Yeah, yeah. And have not gone through, the trials and just what it's taken to get to where you guys are. But yet they're cashing it all in. Yeah. And it's just like,
I think that, and I can see how people get divorced because they let the bitterness stay there and they let it fester and they let it grow, because you can grow to love or you can grow to hate you more and more, because can't nobody hurt you as much as a spouse. Yeah. Nobody in the world, because they know you on such a personal and intimate level that what they think and say about you, it hurts so much deeper than any other relationship that you have.
Right.
Even your parents or anybody. So I think that people that get a divorce, you know, things have been said, things have been spoken, violations have happened, and they just let that offense get in there and they don't process it well and or the right way.
And I would like to say just the counseling you get can make or break a relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So can you guys give us some good counseling that you've had?
Oh, man. Well, I can tell you, like, while we were dating, and I'm going to tell this story because the counseling I got is from this man sitting in this chair right here, Antonio, because something had happened and...
Now, by the way, this is a redemption story. It was just...
While we were dating and, you know, he had said something, but it wasn't like the whole truth.
Yeah.
And he told me, okay, I wasn't 100% honest about this. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. If you're going to lie about something so small, you know, what else will you lie about? And I was freaking out. I was just ready to be like, you know what? I can't trust this guy. I don't know. And me, coming from where I came from, trust, rejection, all that stuff, that was up in the forefront of, hey, I need to be able to trust you. But I can remember calling you. Well, I was trying to get in touch with Pastor, but he was out of town or something. So I called you because you were my Bible study leader, and I was just telling you about it. And you were like, whoa, just wait a minute. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. And that's so true. I mean, come on, because what he said,
it really was a mountain out of a molehill.
It was something so stupid.
Yeah,
and he came to you.
Yes,
yeah, I did.
He confessed it, so that says a lot.
He always.
I'm very conscientious.
Yes.
I've always been like that.
Yeah.
You know.
And so, you know,
that haven't happened since then. So I have a good track record. You know, so.
Well, you know, I'm just keeping it real. You know.
Yeah.
But I can remember just talking to you, and you were telling me that just relax, just, you know, and you talked me down from the prep, you know, from the
ledge.
Yeah, from the ledge.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you know, that's so true. You know, there little stupid stuff will happen. So that really, I was like, okay. You know, he came to me, he let me know what was going on. And that is when someone comes to you and lets you know, that's a sign, you know, you can trust them because they're trying to come clean.
Right.
And it wasn't that big of a deal.
Right.
So, you know, that was great because I was ready to just call it quits right there. But I'm so glad that I did call you. And because that was a pretty stressful time. And then I think we would always just have real good conversations with Pastor. But as much counsel as we got, I think, you know, just putting it into practice and into everyday living was, because you can get counsel all day long, but
I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to just not being selfish.
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, no offense I know people get divorced and all that. I'm not speaking down on anything like that.
Right.
But what I'm just saying is, like, before I make a decision, doesn't matter what it is, I always think about how the decision is going to affect other people.
Yeah.
You know, like, if I make this decision, how would it affect, you know, her? How would it affect my kids? How would it affect all the people who know me and people who may possibly look up to me? So, you know, I don't do anything without considering all that first. So every decision I make. So I just said that to say this. I think a lot of it is just, you know, understanding that it's bigger than me.
Right.
You know, I fight for my marriage, not just because of me, but because there's other people watching me. You know what I mean? My kids, they need me. You know, I mean, you know what I mean? I can't divorce and then split us up and and I got to fight this through. You know, they need me.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's just other people are watching me. You know, how would God feel if I were to do this? Yeah. What about my destiny? You know what I mean? Just all these things go through my mind.
Yeah.
And so she'll tell you, I don't make decisions lightly.
Yeah.
She gets upset with me, like, come on, let's make a decision. I'm like, now let's sit about this, wait on this, let me pray, let me get the mind of God. She's like, what do you need to do? You know? So I don't make light decisions, period.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So for us to come from such dysfunctional places,
Yeah.
and you know, just when we first got married, and just all my thoughts of what I want my husband to be, you know, and just praying about that and over the years,
Yeah.
I can see now, 16 years deep into it, God has made this man into the man that I prayed for. I mean, this guy is my rock.
Yes.
You know, when hard times have came and you feel like, I really felt like my faith was splintering, and that I didn't even know how I was going to continue on. And he was my rock. Yeah. And I could lean on him, being that, you know, I felt like I was the more spiritually strong one in the beginning of our marriage, but he has grew into such a godly man that I can just lean on him and his faith.
Yes.
Now, you know, God has just made him, I'm just so proud of him.
Yes.
So.
You about to make me emotional.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So the other thing I've told you guys in the past is I love watching you guys because you are fun loving. You're always laughing. You're always having a good time together. Is that, you feel like that might be a key as well? You just like being around each other?
We do.
You like each other. That's obvious.
That's our kids. Like,
oh man, I love this guy.
Yeah, we're always like, everything's a joke. We're rarely ever serious at home.
Yeah.
Like we joke with the kids. You know, they're always serious. but they're not. They'll laugh and joke, but not like us.
Yeah.
So we have good times. We joke around from the moment we get up in the morning till we go to bed at night. Everything's a joke.
Yeah.
We just joking, having fun. So we don't take, we try not to take anything too seriously. It's definitely not ourselves. I think people just take themselves too serious. You know what I mean? It's like, just relax, man.
And that's one thing that I've always loved about him is that we've always laughed. Like, if you know me, I love to laugh.
Yeah.
I think everything's funny. People looking at me, I just can find something funny about it. I don't know what it is, but it's, he's always just, I've always had such a good time with him.
We do.
Well, and it's just like how life is a joy now.
Yeah, exactly.
And here it was, just, it's a joy.
Yeah.
And he's brought y'all to this.
Yeah.
To where it's just like, it's so wonderful. And it's just like, it's almost like the past life has never even happened.
No.
Yeah.
Those hard years in the beginning, they were extremely hard. But to where, if people will just work it through. Just work it through and just keep going. Don't give up. Don't cash it in, because it's always going to be better on the other end. If I could just talk to myself the first 3 years in, when we first got married, it's like, it's going to get better.
Yeah.
It's going to get better. He's a man of God. He prays. He makes sure he's doing what he needs to do. He's always wanted to serve God. Yeah. And I think that's the main thing, that you grow together.
Yeah.
So 16 years in, it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, for sure.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
One more question.
Sure.
I know you guys used to have date nights a lot. Do you still do that?
We do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We make a point.
Oh, yeah. Every other,
Got excited.
we try to do it every 2 weeks.
Okay.
We go date nights. The kids are older now, so it's like.
I remember one time you guys went to some junior high basketball game, and it's just the two of you. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, or we'll go in our rooms and close the door, and we'll watch a movie together. Like,
Yeah.
just spending time alone with each other and just making time. Hey, you know, you're special to me.
Yeah.
And I probably get on his nerves because I touch him a lot. I'm constantly touching him and kissing on him because
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
he's not a touchy-feely person, but
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I'm
Well, opposites attract.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I get in the mood sometimes. You know, I mean, I'll go touch her and stuff and hug and kiss and stuff. But whenever I'm feeling it, you know, but it's like I'm not like wired that way.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
But she's wired that way.
Yeah.
But you know, but
that's my love language.
yeah. So, but yeah, I mean,
We make it a point to try to spend time together because we know that is because when we were in Greenville, we never. Well, we might have went on date nights.
no, I mean, we were so focused on like church, like we didn't enjoy the city, our kids, ourselves, or anything. So learning balance over the years, now we're like, let's enjoy, you know, our relationship.
And when you say the church, y'all have been sent out to start a church.
Yeah, so we were pastoring,
Okay.
and so in our we were wired, or not wired, but our focus was the church. It meant everything to us what we were doing, and so it was such a beautiful city. When we left, we were like, we didn't do anything. We didn't realize it until we got back here, and we were like, we could have did this, we could have did that, but we didn't. You know, we were so focused on just.
Got the kids in rec ball. We could have met people, but we were so hyper focused on.
So
Yeah.
now in the church now, so you guys came back to Athens for a little while. Now you're out. In
Oh, we enjoy.
hours. Now you're enjoying.
We're having
I
a
can
good
tell.
time.
I
Yeah,
can tell.
yeah. So you know what I mean. So that's
Well,
the difference.
and that's something you learn.
Yeah.
You know, something you learn, you know, the first time. Now you're going back out and now you're doing it a little bit different based
Absolutely.
on what you learn.
Oh, a lot
Yeah.
of different.
Yeah.
And I think that's just life, you know.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
just
Yep.
it's just seasons and you learn, you grow, and you just that's how all of life is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, you get older, you get wiser. People are like, man, I wish I were younger. I do not.
Me either.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I don't.
I
Either.
like being 43.
I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to take too
I'm
much.
happy in my skin.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would not want to be a teenager. Lord,
No.
no.
Yep.
But, you know, it's been a real joy, and I look forward
Mm-hmm.
to many more years with this guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we really enjoy y'all's friendship.
Oh man,
and
we
just-
appreciate you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys been a blessing.
I
to
think it's safe to say that without y'all, there would be no us.
Oh.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
I think
I
that
think-
that's true.
That's a true statement.
Yeah.
Well, maybe a little bit compared to Jesus. Maybe,
Well,
maybe
you know.
tiny bit.
You know, because I think that was a very critical time when I called Antonio.
Not just that, the grace that when I've been a new convert, the grace I needed, you know, because I really feel like God was trying to speed up the process, if you will, and you are able to be kind of tough and graceful at the same time, and I needed them both,
Yeah.
and the balance in the middle was perfect. You know what I mean? And which our story is a whole nother podcast. We just have time for all of
Can you come back another time?
yeah, I have to come back. And, yeah, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
but
Snake,
yeah,
snake under the crawl space. and-
yeah.
Okay,
So,
okay.
Okay.
I'm not. He
So,
tried.
Antonio and Wallace are typical Southern black men. I just got to say it. They don't like
Definitely.
snakes.
We don't like snakes, and he tried to force me to go underneath the
Well, force-
crawl space. I was gonna quit. I'm not gonna do it. It's like I'm not gonna do it.
And he's acting all tough, standing outside. Oh,
Yeah,
just go in.
yeah, but I know because he didn't go. Did you go?
I was paying you.
The CCO. I was like, I'm not doing that. No.
Hey.
Didn't you find a dead snake skin?
Yeah, we found a dead, and that right there just and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And so we didn't. Neither one of us went, did we?
I found the tank.
Oh yeah, you found the
You
tank.
didn't have to. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have to. So yeah, definitely not gonna do that.
But that's another episode.
Okay.
Yeah, another
okay.
episode. So
Oh boy.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all again. This has been
yeah,
so
thank
fun.
you.